Let's talk about the World Economic Forum and what craziness they have cooked up for us.
All right, well, the Davos people are getting together this week to discuss what your work and life will be like in the future. Here is what they're up to. This is the Growth Summit, Jobs and Opportunity for All. They will discuss jobs and opportunity, and here is how they describe it in the description. Active industrial policy is moving up government agendas around the world. You know, when you read this stuff with a cynical eye, you're like, you're just going to say that? You're using industry to advance government agenda? It seems a bit nefarious, but I'm trying to read it without a cynical eye, so let's just keep going. Sorry. Prompted by factors including the green transition and the need to improve the resilience of value chains. All right.
So that's their plan. That's
what they're up to. When you read the report that goes along with this, it's like, here's our report on jobs, and here's how we're then going to get together to solve it. It's very heavy on how do supply chains get unstuck, I guess, around geopolitical issues. How do we make sure all business goes green and sustainable? What they mean by going green and sustainable is mostly a lot of solar panels and renewables that we know are not sustainable, but okay. And then robotics. How do robotics then sort of automate and make jobs easier? They're fine with sort of industry as long as it promotes government agenda. Those things, they are openly saying, go hand in hand. It is not like a natural improvement of modernity as like we're in the ball of Epcot Center, if you've ever been in that ball, where it's like we're cavemen, and then all of a sudden we're like Gutenberg printing press, and you feel excited about modernity.
The Renaissance, yeah.
That's not this. It's not like a natural progression through modernity. It's like, how can we direct it to advance government agenda? So I guess that's like going sideways in the ball.
It's not even like the Dark Ages, where the Dark Ages after the fall of the Roman Empire. I love that part of the ball, right? And can anyone name what the
We're going a little too far.
But you know what I'm talking about? You go into the Dark Ages and you could smell that fire, and you're like, oh, the civilization collapsed.
Yeah.
Right? You smell the fire and the burning embers.
Okay, so if no one's ever been in the ball at Epcot Center, this won't work.
Everyone watching right now has been in the ball at Epcot Center.
Okay.
I'm just going to say that.
I think that's a big assumption. Boys, have you been in the Epcot ball?
I haven't. Never. Yeah. Yes. Never?
Wait, what? No?
Philip's never left the house, so he...
I have not. No, I've never left the house.
Okay.
I never leave my office. I'm permanent. I'm a permanent.
Everyone's left
fixture here.
What is it called? Yeah.
It's called World of the Future.
The World Showcase.
World Showcase.
Like
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Sometimes an analogy just goes a little too far. What this is Disney sort of like laying out, humanity and modernity in a beautiful and inspiring way, as in humans are amazing. They create in order to progress the lives of everybody. That's not this. This is like humans are amazing. Progress is moving fast. How can we use this progress to advance government agenda? That's essentially what this is. Through these things, which are, again, the green agenda and automation.
So I am a little stunned to see that many people here in the chat saying, nope, they've never been to the golf ball.
Okay.
Well, all right.
All right. So, see, I don't want to leave anybody out
Yeah,
if you haven't been through this inspiring Disney version of modern humanity. Okay. This agenda, not very good for humans. On the agendas laid out this week, here is how they think it will work out for the workforce. Basically, employers anticipate a structural labor market churn of 23% of jobs in the next 5 years. So let's read the highlighted part. Of the 673 million jobs reflected in the data set of this report, respondents expect structural job growth of 69 million jobs and decline of 83 million jobs. This corresponds to a net decrease of 14 million jobs, or 2% of current unemployment. So I'm not going to break down this plan bit by bit. You can read it for yourself. But what they're saying is that these agendas will slow down growth, and that's what, that's how the cookie crumbles.
That's
Some
what they
people just
want.
won't work, and, robots will, and that's what it takes to advance modernity. Then 20 some odd million of us have to lose a job. Sorry.
Well, and this is tied directly to what Christine Anderson.
We're going to get to that.
Okay,
yeah.
Yeah.
So the industries in the modern economy that they see the most job growth with, here is just a short list. Agricultural equipment operators. This is job growth. Heavy truck and bus drivers, vocational education teachers, mechanics, business development professionals, engineers, metal workers, molders, welders, delivery service, construction laborers, digital and marketing specialists. Okay, so that's where there'll be job growth. But other professions, they do not see being outsourced. Now, here's where I'm going to tell you that they don't think that there will be any outsourcing in cooks, chefs and cooks. They don't think that robots or, artificial intelligence can cook for us. What do you think about that?
They don't think, well, I guess.
They don't see automation and decline in jobs in these spaces.
Going to like a high-end restaurant or even
don't
not even a high-end
predict
restaurant.
a job decline due to progress.
I could see that
cooks and chefs.
Because where in a kitchen, how are you going to automate that process?
Well, in the San Francisco airport, there actually is a barista that's a robot that Zoom. I sent you a video of that. Remember?
Oh yeah, but it's making coffee at a machine, and they probably get like 5 choices, right?
And then make a lattes.
And they can zip around.
It's a full-on barista in a thing. So that is a thing.
I mean, I could see them automating past the point of like a chef has to program the ingredients for a certain thing first, because people know what things go together. A robot couldn't be like, okay, it's this much garlic or whatever, because it's not really going to know. But I
the taste of
after
it, right?
that. Yeah, exactly. I think taste would be the only part.
Right. It's sort of more automated food, more like stamped out type food you can see, but like actual preparation of things that humans want cooked for them. I don't know. This is what the World Economic Forum says. And in fact, they even have full Taco Bells that are personless now.
Well, and I should mention, when the World Economic Forum puts out these and has these meetings, and they put out these white papers, they get together and they blue sky stuff. 5 years from now, this stuff ends up coming together and happening.
Okay.
So go back and look at their previous meetings from the past few years. Almost all of it has come to pass.
So, okay, chefs can feel pretty good about their job choice now. Let's look at the largest job decline, the predicted largest industries that will have the most decline in jobs. Data entry clerks, because yes, automated, you can do that. Administrative and executive secretaries. Again, that's what Bill Gates said, is that, you can use ChatGPT and you don't need a secretary or an administrator. Accounting, security guards. That's a little scary, right? That armed security
I saw
guards.
RoboCop.
Yeah, RoboCop. Nothing goes wrong with that.
Right.
We'd like to introduce the S5 and that I saw that as a kid in the theater, and I was horrified. They're and I remember that. What was amazing about that moment watching that RoboCop scene was thinking about how those billionaires that were just just killed somebody. Well, we got to fix that. Doesn't seem to be working as well. They just didn't care at all about the human life that they just had snuffed out because of these robots. And that kind of reminds me of this too. There's just a lack of empathy or caring about the human element of this.
Yeah, it does
that's what
read
I
that
was
way.
about the administrative. If you got somebody that's an administrative assistant or whatever, there's a lot of nuances to each person that you represent. It's not like it's a one size fits all, just blanket over every executive or everybody who needs an assistant. So that one kind of doesn't make sense to me, because there's so much. Somebody's got to program the chat GPT or whatever. That one I don't get that.
Yeah, and who are you going to yell at when it goes wrong if you don't have an administrative
around the
assistant?
desk, I guess.
Yeah, right.
Edwin in our chat, Edwin Jansen says, "Didn't you guys see the X-Files episodes of Mulder and Scully during dining at a fully automated sushi restaurant? That worked perfectly." I don't remember that episode. I've seen a lot of the X-Files episodes. I don't remember that. But
And I also haven't seen RoboCop, so we're fully through the looking glass on the pop culture references and leaving people out. So I'm sorry if we're leaving you out in some of these things. Let's see if I can. I'm gonna keep going. Let's see. Assembly and factory workers, postal service clerks, bank tellers, shop salespersons, telemarketers. I don't know who's gonna maybe more in that one. Client information and customer service workers, business and door-to-door salesmen, news and street vendors, and related workers.
What about news anchors? Like, what about journalists and what we do? What about independent journalists? Would that be snuffed out? I'm sure they would love for us to be snuffed out.
I'm not sure. Philip, why did you chuckle at door-to-door sales? Because we just don't have.
Oh, that was
a lot
me.
of those.
Because I would just see a robot coming to your door selling a vacuum and like
And not taking no for an answer.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, what are you guys doing? I got the kids here. I can't deal with this right now. My 5-year-old just spilled coffee on the floor, and I got to go clean that up. And well, I'm sorry, man.
I told this thing no 3 times, and it will not leave.
Right. It's like I have no shame, so I will stay here.
Wait a minute. I understand. You're
somebody. Sorry, I was going to say, like 50 years from now, somebody's going to go see Death of a Salesman and be like, what the hell is this all about? This doesn't make any sense.
I'm sorry. I understand that your daughter just spilled coffee on the floor. Well, I'm the Robot 5000. I can clean up that coffee. Don't you need one of these in your house?
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Now, interestingly, here are some of the jobs that will have like as much gain as they will have losses. This is like the middle of, not very much gain, not very much loss. So a lot of the job will change and be outsourced, but a lot of it will evolve and require new people. So smack dab in the middle is like lawyers, product managers, sales reps, manufacturing, recruiters, farm workers and laborers. So, you might be interested in going through this list. We'll make sure you have the link to the original document. And maybe we want this and maybe we don't, but this is a good reminder that the WEF is, again, a group of unelected leaders. They don't really take into account what we want. They're taking into account what they want and government agendas. They do say that the green agenda is going to slow down economies, slow growth, and sort of drag along. I mean, they don't say this, I'm saying this part, that it will drag along the poorest of us and hurt those people first. But it's worth it. The planet, they say, it's a lot of like rhetoric around the greenification of industry, and it will hurt us in the meantime. And they have calculated that it's worth it. We haven't collectively calculated that it's worth it. We don't get a vote. And they're selling us on a more automated life, but to what end? This brings us to an interview this week with European MP Christine Anderson. She's warning us that people who are in power want more automation, less autonomy for humans, and again, therefore, more control. Here she is talking to the Epoch Times recently, and she lays out this agenda, and see if this sort of seems familiar with this industrial change that the World Economic Forum is trying to sell us.
Green certificate, the COVID pass, that was a test balloon to get people to having to produce some kind of a QR code, just getting people used to that. Now what they're slamming us with is these 15-minute cities. Make no mistake, it's not about your convenience. It's not that they want you to be able to, have all of these places that you need to get to very close. And it's not about saving the planet either, by the way. The 15-minute cities, they will have to have those before they can lock you down. And that's what we're talking about here. So in Great Britain, some county already passed legislation. They will be able to impose a climate lockdown. That's the next step. That's what we're talking about. So in order to do that, they will have to have these 15-minute cities. The next step then, of course, will be you are only allowed to leave your immediate area for, let's say, 2 or 3 times a year. So, but there's other people that may have more money, and they can actually buy your passings off of you. So guess what? The poor people will be left in these 15-minute neighborhoods, while the ones that are better off get to go wherever they want to go. So this is what we're talking about, Look at Saudi Arabia, for instance. They're pulling up Neom City. They call it the Line. So this is like a structure in the middle of the desert, 200 kilometers long, 200 meters wide, 500 meters high, and it will house up to 9 million people. Oh, isn't that just brilliant? If I wanted to get total control of the people, that's exactly where and how I would house them. And then having them on a 3 meals a day prescription, But guess what will happen if you do not do as you are told? They will probably cancel that. It's so easy. So that's what we're talking about. And when you really take all of this together, there is no other way for me to actually say this. It will be a complete impoverishment and enslavement of all the people. And I'm stating it so clearly because that's what it seems like and that's what it looks like to me.
Okay, so she's extrapolating based on these data points that she sees, which continue to show removal of power from everyday people. That seems very much like the agenda of the World Economic Forum from the document that I'm showing you here. Is we're moving towards these government agendas. They are telling us it will be better for the planet, that it will be better for us in the long run. Some people will be hurt. That's the way it's got to go. Again, maybe we're being cynical and this is the natural evolution of an industrialized world. It is sort of the next, world that you would see in the Epcot ball. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't.
No, I've watched Star Trek, and that's not the way this goes.
Okay, another fictional thing that I can't participate in. But shouldn't we at least get a vote?
Yeah, you would think we should, but we won't.
What was that? Was that the woman that told Trudeau not to speak?
That's her.
That's Christine
That's her.
Anderson.
Okay, I thought so.
The very
Same
one.
lady.
Yeah, I mean,
We need her.
we don't get a vote, and these billionaires, these unelected billionaires, will drive all of this. You know, that's exactly why you see these calendars being released showing the shady relationships that people were having with Jeffrey Epstein. It wasn't about the money. It was about the power. It was about the influence. It was about the blackmail. It was about... so these are the people driving our future. These are the people that are making the deals in the back room, in the smoky back room.
Yeah, and what I find so interesting about this is that climatism is all but accepted. There is nobody like Bjorn Lundberg who's saying, hey, wait a minute, solar panels are actually worse for the environment in a lot of different ways. Can we do these calculations? Renewables, like wind, is not going to save lives when someone is on a respirator or something like that. Can we actually talk about this? It seems like now that's a foregone conclusion, that just anything renewable is desirable. And whoever gets hurt in the electric cars, whoever's mining those materials, screw them, that kind of thing. That's just where we're going, is all of these assumptions, major assumptions that sit on the backs of people's labor, and they can just giveth and taketh.
Thank you so much for watching this segment here